Hello and welcome to the Lucky Roll, an eclectic channel for eclectic games. And today we're going to unbox Fallout Shelter. Now, Fallout Shelter is a computer game, a mobile app computer game that was released the same day that Fallout 4 was announced. In it, you're an overseer and you must develop your entire vault underground with certain rooms in order to keep your vault dwellers happy. Now, there's a lot of things I like about this game. The first one, of course, being the aesthetic. I can tell immediately that there's a great deal of fan service to this because it's a lunchbox. What's interesting about lunchboxes in Fallout is that it's kind of a recurrent theme. In the Fallout 3 Collector's Edition, you also got kind of an in-game lunchbox. What makes it interesting is that the post-apocalyptic future, you have to scavenge and create your own weapons. And what a lunchbox was an impromptu mine. You could stuff bottle caps into a lunchbox along with some explosives and basically use it to blow up enemies that followed behind you. So the fact that they copied the lunchbox aesthetic was interesting. Now, that said, lunchboxes in the mobile app game are also things that you buy, so I suppose you could have copied that as well. But nevertheless, the look of it is very eye-catching. It's bright, it's colourful, it's kind of embossed tin, and the fact that it's tin is something I like a lot as well, because board games generally come in kind of cardboard boxes, so when you come across one that has a tin box, it just, to me, it seems that a little bit nicer. It's also well decorated because you can see here all the different special stats. I mean, you have here endurance, perception, charisma, you have strength here, you have strength, I can tell despite the actual handle being put over it, you have agility here and intelligence, and of course with the black cat in your man, luck. So with no further ado, let's open this box and have a look at what's inside. Now, one thing I don't like about the box is the sleeve. I'm just kind of pedantic that I like to keep all the little bits and pieces of the box. Now, I know it's not an important thing, but and I know it looks good for the actual selling of the box itself, because the tin without the information, you can't tell that it's a game or what it is to sell. So it obviously has a very functional thing, but nevertheless, it's something I like to try and keep in one good piece, but won't be able to. Now, the box, of course, is tin. And opening it for the very first time, we are greeted with the instruction book. Now, it's a very thin instruction book, which is interesting because the game itself, the mobile game, is not overly complicated, but there's a bit of substance to it, especially for a mobile game. And there's only 11 pages in this rulebook, so it's a very straightforward game. The other interesting thing about this game actually is that it's for 2 to 4 players, whereas in the mobile app game, it's a solo play. As far as I know, yeah, I can see it here, Inventive Overseer Death. The gist of this game is that the Overseer has died, and that the 2 to 4 players that are competing in this game are trying to compete to make the Vault Dwellers the happiest. Whoever makes the Vault Dwellers the happiest, it gets elected as the new Overseer and win the game accordingly. So, as you can see, it's fairly straightforward. It is predominantly card play. You have certain items and tokens, and you have little figures. It's nothing overly complicated, so it's a game that you should be able to play quite quickly. We have here cardboard, which I presume these are your Pip-Boys. We have happiness tokens here, happiness by 5, and the back of the Pip-Boys, so we'll have a look at those later. We have here little green resource tokens. They're just green cubes, but they're plastic, so they're not the flimsy little wooden ones. We have here little Vault Boy characters. So we have grey, brown, yellow, and blue. Now, blue and yellow, of course, are the Vault Dweller uniform, and the other two are just the normal ones. So what we'll do is we'll have a closer little look at these, because I think, yep, they actually, these are actually like the little bobbleheads. So this looks like the little charisma fella. This one looks like perception. This fella is running, so I suppose he could be endurance. They're not the classic Vault Boy poses, but they're still functional. So you have here that looks like intelligence, and these, of course, maybe these are the bobbleheads from the computer game. We have one here with flowers, which could be a charisma boost. We have here obviously the strength one, and we have here what looks to be agility. Now they're actually lovely little pieces. They're quite nice. They stand out very well, and they're quite functional. You know, you could have just cheaped out and done a simple little cardboard cutout or another little cube for it, but they didn't. They actually did one for the special, all of the special traits in the game, like strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, luck. The fact that they went the extra mile for that on just these little pieces impresses me, actually. That was a nice little touch, and fair play to them for doing that. We have here what seems to be the vault cards. We have here more little cards, and we have two nice big chunky red dice. Now, there's nothing special about the dice, unfortunately. There's no Fallout Boy or Vault Boy or anything like that on it. And that's essentially it. We have an insert that looks like it would fit everything back in, actually. So I think this is a game that seems to have been very well designed. So what we'll do is we'll open this one and we'll have a look at what are the vault cards. So like I said, in the mobile game you create a vault, and of course as you level up, more rooms that help you in your vault kind of come along. Now as you can see, we have a lot of different cards here. As you develop the vault, you build different rooms, all that'll have a different function. So obviously you have here a nuclear reactor room with the letters L and S, so I presume that's luck and strength would have a bearing in how effective this room is. So we have two nuclear reactor rooms. One is blue and the other is blue. So we have a garden which has the food symbol, so I presume nuclear reaction obviously goes to power the vault, whereas the food obviously goes towards feeding your vault dwellers. So you have the garden. You have water purification, which would have the water symbol. It also has these other stats such as perception and luck. So I presume that if you have vault dwellers with a high level of perception and luck, you can kind of increase this. You have the nuclear cola bottler, which has both food and liquid. You have the living quarters. You have the storage room, which, as you can see, I think you can actually swap resources here from what I can see. So you can swap water for food or power for food. You have the med bay, where you can gain an increase in endurance, I presume, and stim packs. You have the science lab. You have the radio station, which, as you can see here in the mobile app, you can use the radio station to get other vault dwellers in. So if you need to kind of build up the vault, you use the radio station to attract people from the wasteland. You have the weight room, which has happiness, but also increases a character's strength. Athletics room, which increases a character's, obviously, their agility. The armory, which in the app increased the person's perception, but also could be a way of getting items or arming up or kitting out your vault dwellers as they go into the wasteland. The fitness room, which is endurance. The lounge, which works on charisma, but also has a stim pack symbol. A game room, which works on luck. Classroom, of course, is intelligence. And a weapons workshop, which, as you can see here from the little present, must mean that you can draw a random kind of item card. An outfit workshop, same thing, you probably draw armor. A theme workshop, which in the mobile app game, you could build, instead of building 10, say, lounges in a row or 10 kind of kitchens in a row, you could use a theme from a faction. So you could have a kitchen from the Minutemen, or a kitchen from the Brotherhood of Steel, or a kitchen from the Railroad. It was, to me, I only ever saw it as an aesthetic, but nevertheless, that's here in this game. You have the Wasteland, which was the first place you went out to. Now there's two spaces here, so that's interesting. I presume you can send your characters out. You have the vault door, which was always the first place which was invaded. You have the vault entrance, so I'm guessing they go together like that, and that you can have up to 4 guards in your vault area. You have the water treatment plant, which was where you get your water from. The diner, and you have the power generator. Now they seem to be all the room cards. So instead of players having a vault each, it's obvious that you all work from the same vault, which is why they have the different characteristics there. We also have other cards here. smaller ones. So just opening these. We have item cards. So we have here military fatigues. I'll just show them over here. We have here military fatigues, which I presume can increase your strength. You have the jumpsuit, which increases your agility. The classic vault suit. The lab coat. The wasteland gear. All of these, of course, are in the computer game. The nightwear, which was interesting actually, because if you wanted vault dwellers to avail of the birds and the bees and increase the population of the vault naturally, you could use kind of sexy nightwear to help make that happen. You have formal wear, which increases your luck. You have the T-45 power armor, which I'm not sure what those symbols mean, but it can't be a bad thing. You of course also have weapons, so you have a pistol here, you have a laser rifle, which I guess that adds 2 to the actual score. You have a plasma pistol, and you have a shotgun, a minigun, which was one of the first weapons you got in Fallout 4, which always struck me as a bit silly as you were overpowered. You have the missile launcher for when you want to kind of spray and pray. The Fat Man, which is just, basically a mobile nuclear launcher. You have a camera. Now that's interesting because in the mobile app game you used various items, junk items such as cameras and circuit boards to create weapons and armor. So you also have a globe, which was one of the items. So I presume by combining these things, such as the Yogwai pelt, you can create armor and weapons and whatnot. So that's the Giddy Up Buttercup horse. Duct tape, which is anyone in the military will tell you that electric tape and duct tape is a godsend. The circuit board, the chemistry set, the gold watch, the stim pack, which is a very iconic thing of Fallout. You have the golden retriever. So in the app game you have pets, so it's nice to see that they've included pets in this as well. You have the husky, you have the German shepherd, you have the collie, you have the parrot, and you have the Maine Coon. So it's nice to see that cats have survived into the future anyway. And you have the Scottish Fold, which is just a doty looking thing. We have other cards here, which seem to be, I guess, punishment cards, because you have an injured character there and a Stimpack symbol. You have, maybe these are the elevator cards that if you want to advance to the next level you have to satisfy these conditions. So as you can see, there's different colors of them that I'd have to read the rules. And finally we have transparent cards, which are interesting. Now these are the enemies. So these of course are red roaches, and you have glowing red roaches. You have mole rats. You have ghouls. Now I noticed that there's a stat down at the bottom which is different for all of them, so I presume that you need to use a character with that stat to battle them effectively. Some more red ghouls. You have a glowing one, but of course where you need the last one with the normal ghouls you needed intelligence. With this one you need endurance. Another glowing one. We have a red scorpion, which is a nasty thing. Another red scorpion, and of course a glowing red scorpion. So if it's like a shark with a laser, if you can't get a laser on top of this red scorpion's head, you just radiate it. You have raiders. You have a male and female raider. You have a death claw, which is just generally game over when you see those things. You have a power outage, and you have a fire. Now what's interesting with these cards, the transparent ones, is they obviously go over the card like that, and it's a top quality one actually, I have to say. You could have, I suppose, a place on fire and raiders going in and annoying it, but the fact that they go over the vault cards quite cleanly and easily is impressive, because it's for a game that's small and kind of a simple and card based and based on the mobile app. I have to really compliment them here on the production quality of the game. It's much better than I thought. I thought it'd be just a simple deck of cards, but I have been proven completely wrong on this. Now the final thing is of course the card stock. Now there's 2 of them in here, so there's nothing too much to show in here, I'd say. So just opening this up, opening it up without breaking it, of course. This is one of the things I hate about kind of plastic, that when it's too tight you might bend the cardstock. So the cardstock itself is not too thick, but not too thin either. It's solid enough. I mean, for a small little game, very good quality. To be fair now, Fantasy Flight have done a bang-up job of this in terms of components. So the only two things in the cardstocks really are happiness tokens by 5, the 4 different kind of player colors, and what looks to be a vault symbol. I presume that could be the first player marker or the winner of the game. But otherwise, everything is done incredibly well. And I'd say it fits in quite well, and even if it doesn't fit in quite well, you can just take out the insert. But they wouldn't have designed an insert without it actually fitting. And just trying as well, there is plenty of space here as well. So if you want to sleeve your cards, and I'm sure the Fantasy Flight will make sure it fits them very well, you can actually fit sleeved cards in here. And there's a bit of depth as well, so the extra plastic, both on the sides and in between, will ensure you can still close the lid. So fair play to them for getting that right. These, I presume, are just resource tokens. They'll fit there. We have 4 player factions. I presume all the other small tokens go in here. These go on top. The lid closes, and Bob's your uncle. So this is a game I'm looking forward to playing and reviewing as well. I do love everything that's Fallout, but the mobile app game is one I actually did enjoy, and I have squandered a fair bit of time on it in between train journeys and whatnot. So the fact that I can play the game with other people and compete in the game, because it's for 2 to 4 players, is interesting. Now, it's not a solo play game, which is what I thought it would be, but the fact that it's only for 2 to 4 players is interesting. So that was Sean from The Lucky Roll. If you enjoyed this little unboxing, please like, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff, and until next time, good luck and God bless.